Now, we will move the heat to President Akufo-Addo if he refuses to sack the finance minister after 2/3 majority vote on Thursday to remove Ken Ofori-Atta. That's the declaration by Minority Chief Whip Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak. Article 82.5 of the 1992 Constitution provides that where a vote of censure is passed against a minister, and that this article, the president may, unless the minister resigns his office, revoke his appointment as a minister. Speaking on PM Express last night, Muntaka Mubarak said it will be in the president's interest to remove Ken Ofori-Atta after the vote of censure is successfully passed.
Article 82 clearly states that, 82.4, that the person who's this censure is against will have to be heard during the debate. Very clear that he will be heard during. And for me, fortunately, I didn't go to Achimota, I didn't go to Presec, but during the debate cannot be referred to any other thing. It's simply saying that when the thing is happening, no, he should be heard.
But the Constitution also says that after the vote of censorship, the president may. Are you aware of that?
I can tell you that this may here, every president will know if 2/3 of parliament says remove this minister and you choose not to remove the minister, you know what it means. Parliament will not receive that minister, and it could lead to you yourself, president, going to vote of process to remove you from office. Because if let's pray tomorrow we get 2/3, and then President Nanado says that, oh, even though 2/3 of you have said I should remove him, I'm not removing him, I can assure you the next day we'll file another process to remove the president from office. That means now the problem of the country has moved from the finance minister to the president himself. So now we'll move the heat from the minister that you can't remove to you yourself. And then we'll start the process. And interestingly, it's the same 2/3 that you need to remove the president. So if he will remove the minister, then he will have to be removed.
You're sure you get that number to remove the president?
One thing I can show you, Aisha, is that this is a game of politics. If we can get 2/3 to remove the minister for Nanado, you can be rest assured that that same 2/3 will be ready to remove the president.
Now, members of parliament from the majority group in parliament are expected to abstain from voting on the crucial motion of censure against Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The motion, which stands in the name of the minority, wants to force the hands of President Akufo-Addo to dismiss his cousin, the Finance Minister. The NPP has directed the Majority Chief Whip to ensure no NPP MP partakes in the vote on the motion of censure. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us with the details. Now, Kweku, how's the House shaping up for the crucial business today?
Brace, a number of MPs are now coming in for this all-important decision that is set to be taken today. We've seen a number of MPs coming in. We understand the NPP MPs who said that they were not in support of Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and wanted him to be removed had actually organized a news conference and is about to go down very soon. So very soon there will be a news conference to be organized by the backbenchers of the New Patriotic Party. So it is shaping up to be a very interesting day in Parliament with both sides garnering to get the 2/3 majority of votes that is required to relieve Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta of his duty.
Run us through the possible events that can happen today around that particular motion.
So about three things will happen. First is the normal course of action where the vote of censure will be moved in the House. It is expected that it will be debated. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta will be heard in his own defense on why he thinks he's the best man to stay on as the finance minister. If this is to happen, the minority need 2/3 of MPs to be able to vote for the censure motion to pass. This means that 136 MPs will have to be backed by at least 47 MPs on the NPP side. That is the normal course of action. The second course of action, which is generating some conversations in the House, is for NPP MPs to completely boycott business in the House. If they do so, it will be left with only 136 MPs in the chamber. They will have the ability to move the motion, but the debates will also happen but the vote will not happen because according to Article 104(1) of the Constitution, you need at least half of MPs in Parliament to be able to vote on any matter. That is the second point of call. But only yesterday we had that press release from the New Patriotic Party, which was ordering its party in Parliament to abstain from the vote. This will mean that MPs will be on the floor, but they will not participate in the vote. We know that this vote is supposed to be secret ballot. There are concerns that if MPs are allowed to vote, given the level of discontentment in the House, they will vote against Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. To avoid this, MPs have been directed not to partake in the vote. We do not know yet if they will be complying with this directive from the party. In the next few minutes, we will know, because the backbenchers are expected to hold a news conference in Parliament to explain what they intend to do on the floor. So these are the three key issues that are expected to happen today, and the majority would have to choose which one. If they decide to pick the third by staying on the floor, but by abstaining from the vote, this will mean that the vote will fail because only 136 MPs, the NDC MPs, will vote for the censure, but it will be falling short of the required 2/3 MPs expected to vote for this censure motion.
Now, on this pressure that's to be addressed by the majority, do we know exactly what's going to happen, or have we picked any information around it?
Well, so the news conference is just about to happen. Brace, let me hand you over. The NPP MPs who said they wanted Finance Minister to be sacked are just about to address the media.
The majority side, backbenchers of the majority side are preparing to address the press for us to understand what exactly they are going to do as a party, for us to know whether they would go according to the directive by the national leadership of the NPP that they should abstain from that vote or not. In the next few minutes, we'll be finding out what exactly the majority side in Parliament intends to do. Now, Kweku Asante was giving us three options or three things that could happen in this vote of censure. Details of the intent or the action that the majority side wants to undertake will be known. But the presser has started, so let's take you live to Parliament now.
Let you know that not so long, in about 4 weeks ago, we had a press conference. And later on, leader came to state a position that our cause is not a cause of a few, it's a cause of the majority in Parliament. We are here to reiterate that however much that you heard us speaking last 2 weeks, that based upon the intervention of the President, we would have to see the Minister of Finance do his work, read budget, see through appropriation, and then the President will act. Over a few days, we've had the Finance Minister speaking. And his speaking is informed majority of us in the caucus. Not only to state that we are back to the original position that we took. And that original position is to say that the Minister of Finance will not be the one who must read the budget and must not be the one who will do the appropriation. We are here this morning to say that this is going to be very soon for you to see the position of us. And we are going to be positively defiant on that posture until that action is taken. However, we are not going to support the cause of the NDC in the chamber this morning. The cause of the NDC is premised on falsehood, propaganda, and reasons that are not justifiable. Their position might look like ours, but it's not the same. You will not be able to come to the chamber to level 10 issues that borders on criminality over a person who is not there to defend himself. And we have come to let you know. Let you not confuse the public or yourselves about the cause of the majority and that of the minority. it is not the same. Ours remain as it is. After a meeting this afternoon, we will definitely come back to state our position, and it will be that, yes, our feeling is the confidence in the finance minister has gone down, but for COVID and for the Russian war, he was doing very well, the economy is doing very well, but when people are hard-pressed, they have no understanding to the logic of competence and hard work. And when they lose confidence, the only sector that when you lose confidence, it affects the market and affects the pocket of the people is the finance ministry. And therefore, for us, we have nothing personal against him. Our position is clearly that if confidence has gone down with him, he must go. And that is not the same as that of the NDC. And this is what we have come to inform you this morning. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, we are going to speak to yes, I'll do the tree. Look, please. You're going to clarify anything.
So as we heard there, the majority caucus in Parliament will not support the minority caucus to run the vote of censure against the finance minister. Well, our correspondent Kweku Asante is standing by with some more on this particular development. Kweku, we've all heard there that the majority will not support it. What else do we know? All right, so, I mean, just a while ago, the majority side in Parliament addressed the presser, and they made it known that they are still on that decision they took, that they want the finance minister to be the one not to read the budget and to be the one not to ensure the appropriation of that budget. And they would still be on that particular position, but they would ensure that that is done on their terms. What they will not do is that they will not support the minority caucus in Parliament to, get that vote of censure through to remove the finance minister. They believe that he was doing better until the COVID and the Russia-Ukraine war. And so, though they think he has to go, they believe that the way to go about it is not what the NDC is doing at the moment. Let's take it back to Parliament and speak to our parliamentary correspondent, Kweku Asante, who has more on this. Kweku, so take it over from us.
Will you get the MPP to support you?
Listen to me. If the MPP means business, if they really know that the press conference they did, it was genuine, and it is not to deceive Ghanaians. One, the speaker said Parliament has power to do a whole lot of things, not to approve certain things, certain loans, and so on and so forth. He meant Parliament, meaning Parliament means the whole MPP group plus NDC group. So if we are undertaking a program for Ghana, for Mother Ghana, and they also said, yes, they have done a press conference to that effect, then this is why it must reflect whether it was a genuine press conference or they were just to deceive Ghanaians.
Some of your MPP colleagues are now saying that your cause are not the same, and that despite they being against the finance minister, they are against your censure motion because it is based on falsehood. What do you make of that?
It clearly means that they are not serious themselves. Why? Because ultimately everybody wants the finance minister to go away. If you want to go to Kumasi, you can either go by air, you can travel through vehicle or anything. So if you want the finance minister to go out, we all have the same ultimate game. So they must follow us to do the right thing. You don't say that because we are not following you, you will not support us. Because consequently, the finance minister must go.
Right. So it is getting heated up in the House today.
Please, you see, social media, you go and you chastise MPs that they are not helping Mother Ghana. This is a clear case of how it is done. Because we know we don't have the majority. But because they came out with that press conference, we then believe that they were also championing something for Mother Ghana and not for political reasons. Are you getting me? So they should now know that the NDC, for instance, they never gave us majority to rule this nation. So, and this is the time for Ghanaians to know the difference. That NDC means well for Ghana, while their side do not mean well for Ghana. Thank you very much.
So, Honorable Gakwe, this motion is set to fail clearly.
Yeah. Oh, it's not set to fail. It's going to set a record straight. We are going to make a history today.
Right. Okay. Honorable, the majority just concluded a press conference where they are saying that they although they want the finance minister out, their position isn't to follow your motion of censure. So that clearly means your vote of censure will fail.
First, it is clear that the NPP majority in Parliament are playing double standard. They have chosen their party interest over the country's interest. The people of Ghana really want the Minister of Finance go. Unfortunately, they have decided to disappoint the people of Ghana. And clearly, what they did last 2 weeks was nothing but politics. They never meant it. They were doing it to shield the vice president. They were doing it to shield the president, and they never meant it. So they know that the economic crisis that we are going through obviously is not good enough, but they are clueless. They have no solution. And obviously they don't want to create impression that their party is the one that has failed. So they are trying to say that the finance minister must go for a reason. We believe the time has come for the Ministry of Finance to have a fresh person to lead it. And obviously the chairman of the economic management team, he must also go. He must also go. So what we are starting today is not only for the finance minister to go. One, we believe the finance minister must go. The governor of the Bank of Ghana must go. The chairman of the economic management team must go. And the entire economic management team must be reconstituted.
So what will happen today? They are not clearly going to support you.
Yes.
We have only 136 MPs.
Yes.
You need about 47 of them. They say they are not supporting you. This will fail.
Let me say that if it fails today, we are going to turn our guns on the president. Because clearly the president has failed. He is the one that we all have to blame. And if obviously it's clear that he's the one who hired such an incompetent Minister of Finance who has mismanaged our lifestyle and our livelihood, then he's failing to sack the person. Then clearly it means that we should bring an impeachment proceedings against the president himself. Because that is what it means. Because he's the one who is supposed to sack him. He's failing to sack him. You've employed someone who can do it and you don't want to sack the person too. And obviously it's clear that he's the one who has failed. So probably we have to consider the impeachment proceedings.
Right. So clearly the position is now, if the NPP MPs do not support this vote of censure, then they are going to turn the guns on President Akufo-Addo and impeach him. And so it is said to be a showdown in the House today. NDC MPs have only 136 MPs. For this vote of censure to succeed, they need about 47 of their NPP colleagues to join them. Are they going to get it? You just heard from the NPP caucus, who have just said that despite wanting the finance minister out, they are not going to support the NDC position because they think it is at variance with the position that they have been canvassing. They say that the grounds for which the NDC minority want the finance minister to be sacked is based on falsehood, it is not accurate, and for that matter, they will not support it. It is still left to be seen if the vote will happen and if these MPs will partake in it. If they partake in it, it is a secret ballot. Anything can happen, as we saw in that election of Bagbin as the Speaker of Parliament. So, very interesting days in Parliament today. It is left to be seen whether or not these MPP MPs will join this cause to get a finance minister to be removed. Let's tap into Honorable Dr. Atoforsen, who is addressing the journalists today.
All right, thank you. I'm sure it's how we go. I'm clear that all of us, both sides, we want the minister to go. I'm sure that the difference is just the approach. And I'm sure if we negotiate and engage further, we can find a common path so the minister can exit. Yeah. Thank you.
So more talks expected in the House to try and see some concerns about getting both parties on the same ground. Stick with us, JoyNews. We have 24/7 coverage of these events in Parliament. It's going to be very interesting to see how both NDC and NPP MPs who have started coming in will now lead the charge to get the finance minister out. You saw the NDC MPs coming in chanting Choboy and singing war songs, clearly indicating their mood and what they want to be seen done today. So very interesting times that we're going to see in Parliament, Briggs.
So stay with us, run us through how the majority side will be in Parliament, but can still say that we're not going to take part in the vote. For people who, okay, let's go and take this conference.
Any 1 hour longer is a disaster for this country. The man is a walking disaster. And once they themselves have come to the conclusion that Kenofodata is a disaster, why will they not? This is an excellent opportunity for them to walk the talk that they told us that Kenofurata is a disaster and must go. If you have been parasiting food and they call for free food, it's like your wife has just cooked. So why now they have the free food? The opportunity for the censor is moved, and now they are running away. You know, so it is abundantly clear that they will be reneging on their responsibility. And I say that today is a historic day in Parliament. That the people will see who is truly beholden to the national interests of this country, who is truly standing up for the oppressed masses, who is truly standing up for the excruciating hardship that our people are suffering, who is trying to do something about that hardship and make sure that they terminate the man with legendary incompetence who has inflicted this massive damage on the country. Okay. Today, the good people of this country will sit down on the floor.
I've seen that today you've been very short on Proverbs. Which one comes easily to mind?
No, I've already said that the MPP has died in the market. You don't need to announce their demise. Yes. And it is clear, when the house has fallen, do you ask whether the roof is still standing? It's clear. Everything has collapsed. And I am telling you that it is when in times of crisis like this that you see the true leaders, the true champions, eloquent champions of the people who stand up for the interest. And today is becoming clear that it's us in the NDC who are standing up to fight. And that when our colleagues who we saluted when they took this decision, the president backs, they have their tail between their legs running away now. And I told them that they were holding a tiger by the tail. When you take a tiger by the tail, you never leave it. If you leave it, it will devour you.
Right. So Alhaji ABF Hussaini is the ranking member on the Communications Committee, clearly indicating his side's clearest of resolve to get the finance minister out. But they will not succeed if they don't have NPP support. They need about 47 MPP MPs to support them. Initially, it felt like it would be much easier for them to get this, but the NPP MPs now say they are not doing it. Let me run through some of the key issues they are talking about. They say despicable conflict of interest. They've been also raising concerns about allegations of fiscal recklessness, alarming incompetence, gross mismanagement, illegal payment of oil revenues, deliberate and dishonest reporting of economic data, and then alarming incompetence and frightening ineptitude. These are the 7 grounds upon which the New Patriotic Party is, the NDC I should say rather, are basing this vote of censure on today. Clearly they are not getting the support of their colleagues. Whether or not these MPP MPs will stick to their grounds when the vote is on the chamber, it will be interesting to see. Brace.
When do we expect this motion to be moved? What time exactly in the day will this happen? Kwegu, if you can hear me, I'm asking for you to run us through when exactly.
On the other paper, there are a number of questions on the other paper that are expected to be asked. But normally, the way Parliament runs, it is expected that the other paper may be varied. So as soon as Speaker of Parliament enters the chamber, this other paper may be varied for this motion to be moved. So it could be any moment from now. A number of MPs are trooping into the chamber, both NPP and NDC. It is expected to be a full house today, as we have been predicting over the course of this week and the previous one. And so by 10:30, 11, thereabouts, this censure motion is expected to be moved by Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu himself, as well as the Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak. After that, the debate will be moved, and then the debate will be taken. The NDC MPs will canvass their positions, for which reason they want the finance minister out. The finance minister will be expected to open up a defense. We have not seen him in the chamber yet. We don't know if he will be around to defend himself against these allegations that have been made against him by the minority. If that is done, then the vote will now be taken. We are expecting the Electoral Commission to bring in the voting booth, among other things, just like we saw in the election of the Speaker, so that MPs will be called individually to go into the booth and then vote on this very contentious matter.
All right, Kweku, I'm grateful that you could join us with the latest from there. But just before you go, have you seen Sarah Adwoa around anywhere yet?
The expectation we had was that Sarah Adwoa was to be in the house today. She is not yet here. We don't know how crucial these numbers games are. She will probably come within the day. But Sarah Adwoa is still not here, and it's shaping up to be a very contentious sitting today in Parliament. But with or without Sarah Adwoa, the NPP MPs do not have anything to fear. They just have to abstain, and the vote will fail. because the NDC MPs alone, having 136 MPs, cannot censure Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. And let me give you this piece of information, just like you heard from the NPP MPs. They are back on their demand for the Finance Minister to be removed. Indeed, early on they had said that they were waiting for the Finance Minister to finish the IMF talks, finish presenting the 2022 budget. They say now they are back, and they are expected to hold a meeting this afternoon, after which they will declare their next course of action. The point of departure is that they are not ready to support the NDC in this vote of censure, although they still insist Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta must be sacked.
Grateful. So that's our parliamentary correspondent there, Kweku Asante. Now to other stories. In July 1965, Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, introduced cedi notes and peso coins to replace the Ghanaian pounds, shillings and pence. However, weak economic fundamentals and mismanagement have depreciated the currency's value against other major trading currencies such as the US dollar and the pound. Men of God have previously prayed for the cedi. Some politicians even claimed that dwarfs were depreciating the cedi. Large lectures were held to diagnose the cedi, but the cedi is still performing poorly. Features editor Kojo has been wondering, what haven't we done to the cedi?
According to Bloomberg, the cedi is the world's worst performing currency. The currency's performance against all trading currencies, particularly the US dollar, has caused widespread concern. But the problem did not begin now. I could go further, but let's stick to 2012. The then governor of the Bank of Ghana, Kwesi Amissah-Arthur, called on Ghanaians to stop undermining the cedi. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia disagreed and tweeted on 3rd May 2012, and I quote, "The government is blaming speculators for the fall in the cedi instead of tackling its depreciation." He tweeted again, "The free fall of the cedi, which was being witnessed, is a vote of no confidence in the management of the economy."
When in doubt, observe the exchange rate.
The cedi worsened in 2014, and many people were perplexed. The cedi was 3 cedis 20 pesos at the end of that year. The cedi lost cumulatively 31.3% against the dollar. Anita Disosu of the NDC even speculated that dwarfs were sitting on the cedi. When the cedi further depreciated, the General Overseer of the Action Chapel, Archbishop Duncan Williams, prayed for the cedi to rise.
Hold up the cedi with prayer, and I command the cedi to recover, and I declare the cedi will not fall. It will not fall. It will not fall any further. It goes out. I command the cedi to climb. Say, I command the resurrection of the cedi.
Dr. Bawumia addressed a lecture.
This evidence shows is that the economic fundamentals have been weaker during the period of NDC government. And just small shocks, negative or positive, can destabilize the economy.
100 days after the MPP was sworn into power in 2017, he proudly announced that he had arrested the cedi.
The cedi has appreciated in value. When we came in, it was running. Essentially, we have arrested it. and the IGP has the keys. He's locked it up.
But it is clear that the cedi has broken jail and evaded rearrest. With the cedi further depreciating, President Akufo-Addo reiterates the late Kwesi Amissah-Arthur's view on talking down the cedi. He delivered his message in Akan, English and French.
Fellow Ghanaians, as the French would say, l'argent n'aime pas le bruit. To wit, money does not like noise. Sika impede dede.
So what haven't we done to our cedi? We sacked the dwarf sitting on it, but it did not work. We prayed, but it is apparent that we have to do more than just pray. We have organized big lectures about the cedi, but it has not worked. The cedi has cumulatively lost more than 54% since the beginning of the year. Now let's pamper the cedi. All of you prophets and prophetess of doom, shh! Let's be gentle with the cedi, and it may appreciate and maybe give the dollar a beating. But is there any lesson to be learned?
The lesson from history for governments is that you cannot manage the economy with propaganda.
Well, this shows our politicians should stop playing politics with the city and really work to stabilize it. Kojo, Joy News.
Yes, we're watching News Desk. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us. Back from the break. Now, a former Minister of Sport under the erstwhile Mahama administration, Elvis Afriye Ankra, has torn into the NPP government, describing it as a big failure. According to him, voting for President Akufo-Addo was the biggest mistake of an experiment Ghanaians have ever engaged in. Speaking to the press after filing his nomination forms for the for the General Secretary's position of the NDC, he alleged the NPP government is stealing money to win the 2024 elections. The national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, after filing his nomination forms to contest the party chairmanship slot, also said he is optimistic of an NDC victory in the 2024 general elections. Here is a News Desk report.
Prepares to elect national executives, several of them having filing their forms at the national headquarters. It started with Elvis Afriye Ankra, who is running for the General Secretary position. He says he's the best man for the position because he's well placed to ensure the NDC's victory in 2024.
If we get it right as a party, the whole country will get it right. And if we get it wrong, the country will sink further than it has sunk today. Take a moment and carefully think about the ramifications of putting the wrong people in the right offices at this time. It's akin to going fishing with a sharp shovel or fetching water with a basket. This party is a last frontier of hope for the many hopeless people across this country. And this election is the most hopeful thing or event that the people of this country are looking forward to this year. How we move forward as a party and a country is predicated largely on the outcome of this election. Every serious-minded person in this country and in our party should know that this is not just another election, neither is it just another call to duty, but the very survival of our party and the country is at stake.
According to him, the NPP government, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has run this country's economy down, making it an impoverished one.
And they have looted so much money that come election time, they're going to release that money, and because people are poor, they will go for the money. But I know that the people of Ghana are wiser. In 2020, in the midst of COVID, you heard them, how they shared the COVID money like confetti. The reason why we are in this current state is because in 2020, they opened the vaults of this country and spent the money to buy the election. And they intend to do same and even more in 2024. That is why they're using the poverty as a weapon. That is why if you look at their posturing and their attitude, they don't really care what's going on.
The next to file his nomination forms was Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, the national chairman, who is running again for the national chairmanship position. He says what he's been able to do as a former minister, a former regional minister, and the current national chairman makes him the best placed person to ensure the party wins election 2024.
In just 2 years in office as chairman of the party, together with my team of dynamic executives, we were able to increase our seats in parliament from 106 to 137. And our presidential votes also moved from 4.8 million to approximately 6.3 million, a very quantum jump.
According to him, Ghana needs a savior, and that savior is none other than the NDC.
With your support, we can rescue our beloved country from the clutches of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government that has brought untold hardships on Ghanaians through bad governance, economic mismanagement, and corruption. Never in the history of this country have citizens protested for the resignation of any president or his vice. But under this present condition, Ghanaians are even asking the president and the vice to resign.
It will be an interesting contest in December this year. Who will win the national chairmanship race of the NDC? Only time will tell. From the national headquarters of the NDC at Dabraka, Accra, I am Samuel Kojo Brace for Joy News.
And on this note, we'll take a break for business. Stay with us.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The government's quest to reduce prices of petroleum products at the pumps has again been questioned by some operators after the National Petroleum Authority directed players to increase the primary distributor's margin by 6 pesos effective 1st of November. Here's more.
The National Petroleum Authority, in an email to the oil marketing companies and other players, directed them to increase their primary distributors' margin from 7 pesos on a price build-up to 13 pesos per litre on diesel and petrol. It also covered other petroleum products on the market. The authority in the email maintained that this is in line with the current economic conditions, hence the increase. The margin takes care of the cost of transporting petroleum products to other depots in the country. Now, this meant that you paid 6 pesos more for fuel last week Tuesday, when this was not due to the city's depreciation as well as the cost of importing finished petroleum products. Some of the oil marketing companies have told Joy Business that prices could have gone down if it hadn't been this margin review. For some of these players, at the time that government is looking for cheaper sources of petroleum products to reduce prices at the pumps locally, they find this move by the state as interesting. Some have also argued that why can't government use the windfall from crude oil revenue to finance the shortfall with some of these margins? This is because of the impact of an increase in fuel prices on inflation and the broader economy.
We head up north. Shareholders of the Nara Rural Bank, based in the Upper East region, want the bank to pay more attention to granting facilities to local businesses. The shareholders believe that considering the current economic hardship, the bank could help businesses thrive, and this would go a long way to also improve the fortunes of the bank. The shareholders have been speaking at the 31st Annual General Meeting of the Nara Rural Bank, held at Navrongo in the Upper East region. Correspondent Albert Sori reports.
Nara Rural Bank Limited prides itself as the bank of the ordinary business person. The bank is currently headquartered at Paga in the Kasna-Nankana West District and has 7 branches located in 5 districts of the Upper East region. This year's annual general meeting of shareholders of the Nara Rural Bank was the 31st in the series. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the bank, Reverend Joseph Tabase, said the bank's performance in the year under review showed that there was goodwill from its customers and shareholders.
The bank is doing well. We really made a profit over 497,000. And there is goodwill, confidence and trust on the part of our customers and shareholders. And that is why you can see the massive attendance in this year's general meeting. In actual fact, we have over 1,000 shareholders. Nara is 41 years now, and it is the first rural bank in northern Ghana, a very resilient and robust bank that has stood the test of time. And with new reforms in the banking sector, Nara continues to be the community bank for the community.
He said he believed there was room for improvement in the coming years.
If we are able to grow to the level that it can become a regional or a national bank, then we will indeed appreciate that. Vision is to see how we can be part of the Club 100, companies in Ghana. Yes, we are doing well in the savings, in all aspects of the bank's products, and what we need to understand is that there is the need to do more. There's the need to help in the socio-economic activities of our people.
Shareholders of the Nara Rural Bank Limited want the bank to do more to support local businesses to thrive, especially in the wake of the current economic crisis in the country.
They should work on the loans, and the overdrafts. There are interests in both. When you go and take an overdraft, they put interest there. When you go in for a loan, they take it. So we are all retirees, but we go in for loans and they still take their interest. So I think the bank is benefiting from us, and we are also benefiting from them.
Rice farming, fish farming, rice farming, which is a mainstay of the people of Kasana and Kana area. So I think if they encourage farmers, the bank will get more money to run.
Though I'm a salary earner, but at the same time, when you pick loan and you are in need, you go there, ask for overdraft, and they give it to you. It has helped me to push my children to high institutions. So anytime, maybe if you take loan and then you want the overdraft, they should try to always be helping them.
For Joy News, Albert Sori, reporting from Navrongo.
And that's it for this segment. Sports is coming up next, to stay tuned.